Issues of the Day is produced and distributed by 22 Creations Multimedia, LLC.
The Geek Speak Show presents Issues of the Day. This is where you'll hear Henry, Emily, and Shanclen discuss what's happening in geek culture. No rumors, no leaks, no spoilers. Just a passion for creativity, entertainment, and geek culture.
I know you're gonna dig this.
This is the Issues of the Day episode. Here's Henry and Shanclen, and maybe a guest or two.
Or 3, or 4, or 5, or... It is the Issues of the Day. You know what that means. It means that it's that time of the month for the Geek Speak Show. The time when we can't hold it in anymore. We just have to get things out of the open and punch a pillow, if you will. But not every topic is bad news. Not every topic is all about doom. Although the doomsday clock is ticking, as you hear in the back. There'll be some interesting Avengers Doomsday nuggets dropped in some upcoming episodes. Might even be some in this one. Let's find out. First, let me bring in all the players for this campaign. I'm here. Obviously, it's me. Hello. So is the Nerdy Navajo, Shanclen. Oh, young warrior. Welcome back.
Oh, happy to be here, Henry.
And, don't have a drum roll here. It's not on our budget, but making her Issues of the Day debut is the newest voice of the Geek Speak Show, Emily Mata. Everybody cheer. Blah, blah, blah. Hello, Emily.
Hey.
I mean, I already know you,
Hello.
but welcome to this one. So, the other voice you heard, it's not Shanclen making voices, is, I teased it last week as we were wrapping up. I said, the boys will be back. And you guys started wondering, wait, what boys? He has a lot of boys on here. Which boys are you talking about? Well, the original boys that started doing the issues of the day with us. That is Trent Tucker and ... I'm going to stretch it out, see if he joins us. No, he won't. Trent Tucker and later on, Mark Pope from Geek Off The Street. Welcome back, boy.
I was going to say, hey, boy, I'm a boy. Yeah, but thank you for having me, Henry. I'm good to be here.
Yeah, so yeah, he'll Mark will join us. He's having again issues. We see again. This is why you guys got to go and listen to Geek Off The Street, and especially support them so they can get some income coming into the show, so that we can get, if anything, a new computer for Mark. That's the main thing that they need. Everything else is fine, cameras, microphones. We just need a computer that he doesn't have to bang it in, so it starts up. But he'll join us in a little bit. So let's get right into the topics. So far, I only have 2. The first one, you heard Shanclen mention in his Nerdy Navajo News. All of you probably heard about it or read it on your feeds. It's official. Kathleen Kennedy has officially now, not rumored, officially stepped away as president of Lucasfilm. Stepping into that role now is Dave Filoni, who's also adding chief creative officer to his resume. Lin-Man Brennan she takes on a co-president role at Lucasfilm. So my question to you all is, the issue, I guess, what do you hope to see from this new leadership? And before you answer, let me say, I'm not just talking about Star Wars. That's obviously the first thing you think about when I say Lucasfilm. I'm talking about everything that Lucasfilm does. Books, video games, live events, obviously movies, TVs, and yes, that includes Star Wars. So what do you guys all hope to see from this new leadership at Lucasfilm when they do start putting stuff out?
A fair Howard the Duck remake. I think that's what we need. Wasn't given a fair treatment.
And that's how they get uninvited to the Issues of the Day.
I'll see myself out. Thanks for having me.
Very first take. All right, you're done.
No, I've always said there's no right or wrong. Just, okay, fine. Well, Trent, the only one so far that wants a Howard the Duck. But but seriously, I mean, what do you guys really hope to see from Lucasfilm?
Honestly, for me, I really would like to see other things that are not necessarily Star Wars, because the only kind of thing I know that's at the top of my head right now is like another movie that they made that wasn't necessarily Star Wars, but it was an animated movie called Strange Magic. And I felt like that was a really interesting, at the time, interesting movie that came out for Lucasfilm, because it was not Star Wars and it was quote unquote Star Wars for girls. And Yeah, so I'm curious of what other stories besides Star Wars that they want to kind of dabble into with, as much as, they have the money into doing other stories or exploring other avenues.
Well, Shanclen, you expect anything, or because I was going to say something, but your turn.
I was gonna say, I'm just taking a look at all the movies that Lucasfilm has done, and up until recently, it's all been Star Wars except for Red Tails, which was pretty good. I like it. And Ewoks: The Battle of Endor. I never saw that one. But yeah, when it comes to Lucasfilm,
I don't think you were
movies,
born yet. That's why.
I was like looking at that one. It's like 1985 when the Battle of Endor Ewoks movie came out. Sure. I mean, like if they want to go ahead and go and start making other movies, like they made Indiana Jones and stuff like that, so maybe they can make another hit franchise out there if they wanted to. But when I heard that she was gone, I was kind of on Endor with those Ewoks celebrating because maybe they can get on track with good storytelling.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, because as you were saying that list, you went way back. That's why I wasn't really joking. It's true. You weren't even born yet when those Endor movies came out. The Ewok ones. I remember they had the cartoon and the droids cartoon and all of that. But coming to now to this millennium, the last thing I think Lucasfilm put out, other than the TV shows, I think was the last Indiana Jones movie. What I don't even remember what the Dial of Destiny, I think it was called.
Destiny.
Yeah.
And that one, I know we always joke, let's pretend it never happened. I really pretend it never happened because it should have ended with Last Crusade, honestly. But we got the one with Shia LaBeouf. Okay, well, the Crystal, what is it? Kingdom, the Crystal Skull. We'll accept that one. But this one, it just was not. We didn't need it. We could have used our imagination to come up with an ending. But then again, people don't have imaginations because look at the Stranger Things finale. We'll leave it at there. So yeah, that's what the big thing that Lucasfilm needs to do is fire up people's imaginations. That was Lucasfilm, the company, was known for, not just with Star Wars. That was the big thing, but also advancing CGI and effects. And we have things like Pro Tools and Logic Pro because it didn't exist, and they needed to invent things to make whatever they had a possibility. Weta Workshop came in, literally kicked their ass with Lord of the Rings and everything else that they've done. They've taken over as the place to go when it comes to effects. They got to get back to that. They got to get back to stories that not remind us what a terrible world, but yeah, we know, we live in it. Take us away from that. Those kind of stories we need. So that's what I hope to see from Lucasfilm moving forward. And Dave Filoni, I will say, I never really got into the Clone Wars cartoons. I don't know if you guys did. You got into those. I never really liked them or got into them. But he does understand Star Wars. If he's going to do Star Wars, he does understand it the way George did it. And I've always said, Shanclen and I talked about it when the Lord of the Rings, the Amazon show came out. That's usually what happens when you give a long-standing IP to somebody that thinks they understand it, but they really don't. And then when they put out whatever they put out, you realize you really didn't understand it. J.J. Abrams looking at you, and Kathleen Kennedy, everybody else, and not just with Star Wars, also with Star Trek. You showed that you don't get it. It's not just pew 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 ships fighting. It does work for Star Wars, not so much for Star Trek. So that's what I hope they get to here. I don't know how it's going to work with Filoni being the head of creative, and then Brennan being the I guess she's the business side. I don't know. I mean, she's part of the creative. She was there. She was part of ILM. She didn't just come out of the street like, hey, you want this role? She's been there for a while. So, we'll see. We'll see this the quote Palpatine. We will watch their careers with great interest. So this one, there's. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. No, I don't want to get off on a tangent with Star Wars because you're not gonna talk about it for hours and hours. But, I think Star Wars is my favorite IP, of all time. So I would like to see it get back to a place where, story and character is what's focused on, and the lore. Filoni has shown in the past that he does have an understanding of the lore. I think some of the stuff he did with the Clone Wars specifically really pushed a lot of the Force stuff forward, I think, which was incredible. But he also, allowed shows like the Acolyte and even his, uh, uh, the show Ahsoka. That was his as well, and he let those shows get made. Or
he was
made
trying
that
to use the
himself,
Force, waving his hand.
Yeah.
The show,
Yeah.
what is it? Appear.
So there's some things that he had a hand in that were not great. So I don't know if there's studio pressure or if there's somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings that are telling him what to do. But my faith is a little shaken in Filoni as well. So I don't know. I just want to see some good Star Wars. That's really it. I want to get back to the
You don't need to look this up, or if anybody else knows, was he really in charge of Acolyte, or was that all Kathleen Kennedy?
He was already promoted to something creative. I forgot what the title was when he was promoted. He was promoted to I forgot what the title was, but he signed off on everything that Leslie Headland pitched. Like, he signed off on all of it. It was like, yeah, this is good. I'm good with all this, and it wasn't good in my opinion. So I don't know if he was pressured into it by Kathleen Kennedy or whatever the case was, but he allowed it to happen essentially in the position that he was in. So I don't know. I don't know. I still think he needs to prove himself with Star Wars when it comes to what he's doing. They say he's going to go back to the Thrawn stuff and go back to the expanded universe stuff, like the Thrawn trilogy from the books. He's going to do some of that, some post Return of the Jedi stuff. Maybe that's where it's going, and that would be cool. But you also can't quite do that 100% because the sequels have already been made, and it's got to end there, unfortunately. But
unless, I don't know if you guys have seen this, there are rumors that those sequels are being scrapped and rewritten and repurposed. If that's the case, I mean, really what we all want is, I don't care how you do it, but just say, it was all a dream, it was all a bad Jedi dream, whatever. Now you can do the Thrawn trilogy, because that, I've always said that should have been the sequel, the sequel trilogy that we all wanted.
Oh, 100%. That's 100% where they should have gone. And they didn't have to do like the books to the T, but they could have taken a lot out of there and shown us what we wanted to see with Leia, Han, and Luke.
Yeah, I mean, there's that, but then what I also said way back in 2012 after the sale, I said what I would like to see. I remember back then, even though love the Dark Side of the Sith, they're all over here in the studio posters of them, including the Acolyte over there in the corner. I'm ready for a new kind of villain, and you had that in the Yuzhan Vong. They're organic.
Yes.
They don't believe in technology. They don't believe in the Force.
Yep. Force doesn't affect them. Yeah, no,
So,
that's
fantastic. Something like that we would have gotten.
100%. Couldn't agree with you more.
Okay. No, it's not a Star Wars show. It's still issues of the day. Emily, Shanclen, anything else before we move on to the next thing?
Honestly, for me, I was re-looking at this list and totally was just reminded that Lucasfilm also did Labyrinth. But I totally agree with you, Henry. I think they have to go back into their almost whimsical roots of doing things where really, I wouldn't say outside of the box, but just finding this almost whimsiness and doing, that's where they were doing puppetry, they were doing CGI, there was all these big innovations. So it's becoming not only innovators, but finding the heart of it again, being whimsical and finding the fun and exploring new stories.
Yeah, you know what worries me about that, though? That's why I was smiling when you were saying that. Remember the Dark Crystal show that they had on Disney Plus not too long ago? I think that did use, Muppets, I guess we'll call them. But it did use practical. It wasn't some were CG, but most of them were like the movie. They were practical, and people didn't react to it. So, kind of worries me that they'll do it, but will people show up for it? Is my only worry would be. In that whatever you were looking at, Emily, did it mention anything about the new Labyrinth? Because I read somewhere. I don't know if Shanclen has mentioned that in his reports. There is supposedly, I don't know if it's a sequel or a reboot or what it is, another Labyrinth coming soon.
See, that has me curious because I know there are comic books based off of Labyrinth. So
Yeah.
it tells a whole other, gives almost prequel knowledge to the Goblin King and how everything kind of came as to be where we get into the movie. But Yeah, it doesn't really say. I'm just here looking at kind of like Lucasfilm's now already made productions.
I just remembered something. It is a sequel because I forget who the guest was. We were talking. It came up because they mentioned the Labyrinth sequel, and there was three of them, two guests and myself. All three of us agreed no, because if there's no David Bowie, you can't do a Labyrinth sequel. So no, we don't want it. Anything else before I move on?
Yeah, no more Indiana Jones. I think that last one really turned me off, I think.
I don't know if you guys remember this. Yeah. Remember when the first Guardians came out because it was so everybody loved it, and Chris Pratt all of a sudden was everywhere. There was talk that Chris Pratt should take over that role. I remember back then I said, though he became a friend because of Guardians, no. There's only one. It's not James Bond. There is only one Indiana Jones, and once we don't have Harrison Ford, we don't have Indiana Jones. That's it. Sorry, Chris Pratt. Shanclen, anything else, or can I move on?
Somehow Palpatine.
Okay, we're gonna cut him off.
That's all I gotta say. If it's better than that, let's run it.
Well, it's not a very high bar then, if that's the case. Yeah, that's all you gotta beat. So.
Because wait, you're telling me they fly now?
They fly now. No, but this next one actually should have. I think it did have you and Shanclen prick your ears up a little bit. I think it was a couple, maybe 3 weekends ago now, with this little movie called Iron Lung. Some knew about it, others didn't. It just showed up. It seems to have, their favorite word, disrupted Hollywood with a very successful opening weekend. Now, the topic, the issue is, does that signal that there's a new way to make and distribute films? Or does Markiplier have something that other filmmakers can't tap into?
No.
Short answer.
I'll say that yes. I didn't watch the movie, but I heard some good reviews, good and bad. People kind of say it's slow, but it's also really good. But for me, how I think about Markiplier's Iron Lung movie and why it was so successful is because he already has a huge following. And I'm pretty sure there's already a lot of other filmmakers who possibly make even better or greater movies than that, but they just don't have a following and they can't get the request to be able or to have the self-funding of $3 million to be able to make a movie like that. So he broke traditional ways of going about releasing a movie, which is cool. Awesome. Congratulations to you, Markiplier. But yeah, I really do think that having a huge audience like that is it's going to help out a lot for sure.
Yeah. It kind of, I don't know, it almost feels like, I don't know, I think this is probably completely wrong now that I'm thinking about it, but when podcasting kind of became a pretty big thing and it was a way to make a splash in like the industry or find a way into the industry, and then celebrities started doing it and they kind of took it over. It kind of feels like that, like with that, like if you like, oh, it's an indie film. Oh, we're going to Netflix to do an indie film, and like nobody's ever done it before. But also you have money and you have a following, and like you're doing it when other people have been doing it for a long time, but not getting the same exposure. It kind of feels a little like that. Or I don't know. Am I making sense? It made sense in my head before I said it. So.
It does.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Emily. Then I'll say something.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I completely agree. Like, it's, I think, a huge success for Markiplier as a person, as what he's been wanting to do, and it seems like, because I do avidly watch Markiplier. I have been for almost 10 years, and so just kind of seeing him, what he would put out and saying how much he's been burnt out, and like as a personal journey for him, like I think that's an amazing success. But when we're talking about numbers and money, and when it comes to industry, I agree with the guys. It's kind of easy, and you could also apply that to comics too. It's like you already have a big following. It's not a surprise that all these people are going to show up to your movie because you already have what. I don't know how many subscribers does he have. I know it's in the millions, but it's like it kind of makes sense that's going to be like a smash box office hit if all these people watch your videos to almost the millions, every week. Of course, you're going to have like millions of people coming in to see your movie rather than the other way around when it's indie people who don't have a massive following that are barely even known in their own hometown. And it's kind of like it doesn't necessarily work like that.
Well, I say something. One of you, I think it's been 3 weeks. Is it still in theaters now or no?
I think in like select theaters, maybe. Maybe this past weekend was the last one.
One of you look at, was there any kind of drop off from opening weekend, that historic opening weekend, to the next 2 weekends? Well, I say, I'm going to answer really what Trent said. I know what you were trying to say, and I've always said, I don't want to be a filmmaker, so I have no need to kiss anybody's behind. So that's why, as a kid said, there's no filter with me. It's called cheating is what it is. It's called it ain't fair. Because exactly what you said. It's an independent filmmaker. I know we have plenty here on the Geek Speak Show. I've spoken to many independent filmmakers, independent anything, creators, artists, writers on the show over the years. We know what they are and what they're like and how much work and passion goes into what they do. Exactly what Trent said. If someone, let's say, one of you name me RDJ. Let's say RDJ. And actually, this did happen. He dies in Endgame. Now he's gonna do Dr. Dolittle or some other kind of movie that's not Iron Man. It's not MCU. Nobody goes to watch it. So he decides to do, quote unquote, an independent film and take it to Prime or Hulu or Amazon or Disney Plus or Netflix or one of these places. It's exactly what Trent is saying. You're not exactly an independent artist. You have money to back you. True independent artists, they don't have that kind of money to back you. And it takes a lot, blood, sweat, tears, sometimes your last penny to get that out there. And all of a sudden, here comes RDJ. Well, I'm going to put up my independent. You're not an independent. Stop. Get the hell out of here. Yeah, we loved you as Iron Man, but you dead. You had your time. Get out of the way. My turn. That's what I mean by it's not fair to independent creators like that. Markiplier, yeah. It's a whole other line also that I've spoken to Shanclen, and I think I mentioned it to you, Trent, when we first met. Anybody that I talk to that really wants to do this for real, they always ask me, how do I succeed in all that? I always tell everyone, you got to be great at one thing. Because I'm older, yes, but also because I have a trained eye for talent and what's entertaining and not. A lot of these content creators, they ain't that entertaining at all. And a lot of the stuff that comes out, they have no idea what the hell they're about. 1 minute they're talking about puppies, and they're talking about I'm going on a trip, and then I'm going to here, I'm going to go there. What are you? The people that are great that have been doing this for 4 decades like I have or longer like others have, it's because you're great at that one thing, and that one thing allows you to branch out. You don't just branch out just because. So you're giving people a false sense of, I can do it too. So that's why when I heard all that story, I said, I hope people don't think that it's just that easy. Just get a great following and it's all going to happen. Because that's not how it works. I mean, we have 2 filmmakers here that want to do films. Why haven't you gotten your films out if it's that easy? You guys have a following. So why can't you guys get the films out?
Well, I don't have a following or money, I think is the big one. But yeah, I don't know. I still don't have a good answer for that. Shanclen, take this one.
Well, no, I'm saying you don't have one follower. You have more than, I think it's more than 1,000, right? I think at this point.
Collectively, maybe, yeah. Overall, but yeah.
I don't know. I'm not one of those that looks at the size of your following. Like, I don't care. If you're good, you're good. If you're not, I don't care if you got 12 million people. You suck. You suck with 12 million people watching you. That's all. But did one of you find was there a drop off in box office from the last 2 weeks?
Actually, go ahead, Shanclen.
I was gonna say, he was kind of neck and neck with who was it? What was the name of the person he was? I remember seeing some of his live streams, and he was talking about like there was this other movie that was out currently, and then he was kind of neck and neck with that person for about a good week. He was number 1 for opening weekend, then Monday he swapped out for a couple hours, and then throughout the rest of the week, that's when he was still number 1 for a couple more days, but then his competition at the time beat him out at number 1 in the box office. But as you can kind of tell, at the time It was Melania and something else that was kind of he was in competition with.
Is that really competition though? How about some real competition, like something that people actually would want to go watch? Wait, what has come out? Like real movies, not like what was it like that Melania thing that
what else come out?
What is it called? There have been 2 actually horror films. I don't know why. The beginning of the year seems to be good for horror. There were 2 horror films. One was I forget what it was called, but then there's another one that just I think it was that same weekend that Iron Lung came out.
Send Help.
Huh?
Send Help.
Was
Sam
it-
Raimi.
That one
that looked pretty good.
That one was one. Yeah, that's a big one. But no, there was another
Was it-
one.
28 years later. That was in the last few weeks.
Yeah, that also came out. But what?
The
Which
Blood
one,
Temple?
Emily?
Oh no, I'm like trying to look it up. I'm like, wait, because I've heard of a movie. It wasn't.
There's one about sound. I forget what it's
Primate.
called. Oh yeah, that one too. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking about. Primate.
Oh, Primate. Yeah, I heard really good things about that one too.
Yeah, but there's another one that had to do with sounds, subsonic, something like that. I don't know if you guys can, whatever you guys are looking at, if it's somewhere in there. I actually want to watch it. Maybe it hasn't come out yet. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's about, remember like The Ring, kind of the same thing, but I think it's a podcast or some kind of audio clip that's out there, and that brings in evil spirits or some things and mayhem happens. So it's kind of interesting actually, and actually the way I want to go watch it. I want to go listen to it really for the sound design that they put in it. But I think it was up against those kind of movies, so that's why I was wondering, like, did it have any kind of drop off, or was it constant, record breaking box offices?
Well, it said it made 18 to 19 million the first weekend, and it's currently sitting at 43 million. So probably a bit of a drop off if it's 2 more weeks after that, but probably, I don't know. Seems like it stayed pretty consistent.
I say for me, if I was a filmmaker and I spent $3 million and we're making like 43 something million, that's a good payday.
Yeah.
If you don't live in California.
Yeah, he lives in Cincinnati, I think.
Yeah, so yeah,
that's great for that place then.
he saw most of that. Yeah, if you're in California and you make 43 million, you're gonna see maybe 2 million of that if you're lucky.
So he's just gonna have enough to make his next movie, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to people that I do trust, not just reviewers that review just because, but people that I do trust. A lot of them went to see it and they didn't know anything about it. They didn't know anything about Markiplier. They just thought it was an interesting concept. They went to see it. They said that it's very long. Number one, an editor would have helped to trim it down a little bit. Do you guys know anything about I guess it's based on a video game that he also did?
Yeah, it was like a 2-hour long movie based on was a post-apocalyptic world kind of thing. Yeah, and I don't know the story, but what the 3-4 people that I spoke to that actually saw it, the Iron Lung, the submarine is in a sea of blood, which I think they had one of the biggest tanks of fake blood. Problem is 80,000 gallons.
Yeah, the problem they said was, and these are people that work in the film industry, is it looks like fake blood, which, as most people know, if an effect takes you out of the movie, then that usually ruins. Like, if you could tell that the dinosaurs were fake, it would have taken you out of Jurassic Park. So it's kind of, there's that, the length, and what they were saying, they don't know him or anything, so this is just what they saw from the movie. He's not a very charismatic actor. I don't know if he was an actor before or not. And it gets annoying or it gets tiring watching him over in long, extended close-ups. I get it. It's supposed to be claustrophobic, but after a while, if there's no charisma, you hope the guy drowns already. And I've always said that if you don't care about the character, you don't care about anything that happens to him anymore. So there's obvious things that when someone isn't a filmmaker, you're going to see rookie mistakes. Kind of like if you're a quarterback in your second year and you get blasted by a team that knows what they're doing in the Super Bowl, kind of like that. Yeah, had to throw in a Super Bowl reference, but it's kind of the same thing here, where you're going to be out of your element. But it doesn't matter because look, and billions of dollars. I guess that's the way America is today. Is that as long as you make money, it doesn't matter that whatever you do sucks. So Doesn't matter what the Geek Speak show sounds like, as long as we make money. So those honestly are the two big topics I wanted to talk about. Is Mark in here yet? No, not yet. I was looking at our thing over here. Not in yet. I actually do need him for this one because I was going to bring one other one up. Emily and Shanclen know about this because it's a challenge that I issued to Shanclen. We four, when Mark and Trent have been on before, we've mentioned it. This year's Star Trek will turn 60 years old. I think I know the answer, but for people that are listening to us for the first time, Trent, you tell them, are you a Star Trek guy? And does it mean anything to you that Star Trek is going to be 60 years old later this year?
I'm not. I respect it. I do, but I just never took the time to give it a chance, I think.
Yes, and this is where Mark would jump in because he does know and understand Star Trek. Although an experience we had at Comic-Con a few years ago kind of soured him a little bit to that, but that's a whole different thing. But the challenge that I issued to Shanclen, I think our first week of the first episode we came back was he's never watched anything Star Trek, not the movies, not the shows, not anything. I said, okay, to celebrate all year long, to celebrate Star Trek 60, could this be the year that you finally start watching the original series? Not movies, not the original series, the one that's turning 60. We said yes. We should give you an update now. Actually, we haven't done that. Have you? I know you've doing like 20 million things an hour, but have you had a chance to voyage to the stars somewhere in there?
Honestly, no. I'm waiting on my tax return to get a subscription to Paramount.
I think we're gonna have to start you when you come for WonderCon because I own them, so we don't need subscriptions. So we'll watch one here when you come. And in fact, yeah, got an idea. Might put a camera on you. You know how the kids love doing that. Oh, look, watch me react to. I think it's dumb, but whatever. We'll put a camera on you and see you react to how when you watch Star Trek for the first time.
We should totally get like a projector, Henry, and then like put a sheet over your garage, go outside and watch it so I can have a smoke while I watch it too.
And then Paramount will sue the hell out of the Geek Speak show because you know how Paramount is. But I mean, Emily, you like I said, you were kind of already doing this before you became part of the Geek Speak show. Like, where are you now on? I think you started with Enterprise, right?
Yeah. The last episode I watched was pretty rough. I don't know if I can talk more about it, but
yeah, I mean it's been on for a while. You can spoil if you want.
Yeah. It was really rough. I'm gonna tell everybody my favorite character is T'Pol. And I think the writing overall, and I have talked about this with friends where I'm like, man, the way that they write her character is so intriguing, or just overall like the cast
wait.
or the crew.
You're supposed to say fascinating.
It is fascinating because I felt so awful in this episode because it does talk along the lines of basically what is like space AIDS. And it hurt me so much. Yeah.
No, I just realized like I know what episode you're on now, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. And so that I feel like I always get attached to the characters that end up having like this crazy amount of trauma, and to see them go through what is like hell on Earth and hurts me so bad. It's like, why do you have to be my favorite character? Why do I have to see you go through so much pain? It hurts me to watch this. And yeah, I almost like ended up in tears throughout the whole episode. The actress.
Actually, no, that's exactly what I said in Iron Lung, where we were talking about. And not just that, but anything. If you don't care about the characters, you don't care what happens to them. So yeah. If it makes you tear up, even if it's just nothing bad, but just you feel for the character, yeah, you're gonna care whatever situation they're in. Way back, I think it was the final episode in season 1 of the Geek Speak show. We had what was the movies? Not Skybound, something about Sky. The Skyline, the first Skyline that came out, everybody hated. It was one of the worst movies until Ice Cube's War of the Worlds came later. But at the time, Skyline was the worst movie ever made. I remember I had the directors on, and I told them, you guys can go back in the archives and listen to it. I said, they're great actors, blah, 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 but you guys, I don't know if it's your writing, your directing, or the way they acted, what it is. I didn't care about any of them, and I wanted them all to die. I was like, really? I mean, you're supposed to care. Yeah, I was supposed to, but I didn't. So it goes way back to that when I said, like I said, if you don't care about the characters, you don't care what happens to them. So the fact that, yes, you're reacting that way, Emily, great job. I mean, it seems like you said, terrible writing. Why you got to put him through all this? It's actually great writing because you can elicit emotions from the viewer.
No, and I wanted to applaud her actress too. Overall in the series, I think, just like even with this, I'm going to highlight specifically this episode that, she's supposed to play this almost emotionless character, but there is so much emotion in her emotionlessness, if that makes sense. Like the way that she expresses with her eyes, or these like slight, just very like slight nods of feelings or physical, like she'll like physically show it. And it is just amazing. Like every time I'm like, man, you could just tell, like, especially in that episode where there's moments where she's like staring or her eyes will like kind of like well up in almost tears, but she's not crying or she's not wailing or anything. She's just kind of like stoic. But you can just see that she's almost on the verge of tears, or the way she even talks too. Just a slight fragment of like she wants to cry, but she can't. And so I think it's amazing. It was a really rough episode overall. I had to take like a good break after watching it because I was like, oh, this is...
Well, see, this is part of the overall Star Trek thing that I tell you guys about. I don't know if I mentioned it to you, Emily, when we off the air when we were talking about Star Trek the very first time, long time ago now. But that is a Roddenberry thing. Not just with Star Trek, but any show that he did. It was always Star Trek, especially. It's always the non-human character that reminds us of our humanity. That is a Roddenberry thing through all of his series. The original series. It was the obvious. It was Spock. He even though he's half human, he shows us our humanity. McCoy is all emotion. Kirk is both. He's the leader. He's the this. He's the superhero basically. But it was Spock who has no feelings. It's not logical. This is not. It's fascinating. That showed us our own humanity, and that's the same thing through Next Generation. That's Data. That was his role. Showed us our humanity, even though he himself is not human. So that's something that goes through every Roddenberry thing. His son, Rod Roddenberry, and I talked about that when he comes on. Now, here's the thing. I guess, Emily, I'm going to recruit you, Shanclen, if you want to help. You two will be on the same boat. Trent, would you like to partake in this celebration/challenge? And you don't have to watch everything, but at least one original series Star Trek episode, the one that's turning 60.
No.
Would you want to watch one? And if you do, I'll tell you, I'll suggest, this is where I needed Mark, a good one to start with. With Shanclen, it's going to be the obvious, Trouble with Tribbles, just because it has everything. Fun, funny, comedy, action, everything. But for you, I've always told you when you guys come on, I've always said, and I think Mark has always said this also, why you guys should watch Star Trek is because a lot of times when, especially Trent, when you say, I was looking for a better story, or the characters didn't do it for me, or didn't this, or I didn't like how it went like this, I always tell you, that's Star Trek. This is why you should watch Star Trek. Everything that you look for, I'm telling you, it's in the original series. And it's sad when you really think about it, but a lot of it still will speak to you today, even though it came out in the 60s. And it's sad because it means we haven't learned our lesson as humans. Those were social statements at the time, what life was like in America, at least in the 60s. So you can imagine what they're talking about under the guise of sci-fi. And the fact that it still applies today, almost 60 years later, means that they got a lot of growing up to do. So I think you'll like it for those reasons. So again, I say, would you like to partake in this celebration/challenge?
Yeah, I think I'm down. I watched the first 2 episodes of Star Trek last year. I didn't keep going with it, but
wait, what did you watch?
Just the first 2 episodes of the original series.
Oh, you watched it in order?
Yeah.
Okay,
with not Shatner and then Shatner. I think, right? Is that how it went? I forgot. Yeah,
kind of.
Confused.
Yeah, there was original pilot. It was it came back later as a two-parter called The Menagerie, but it was called The Cage originally, and it was Captain Christopher Pine, not Captain Kirk. In fact, Christopher Pine, you're seeing his adventures in Strange New Worlds. That's what that's about. But
Okay.
NBC back then thought it was too cerebral, maybe boring for audiences, so they told Roddenberry, in a rare move, they said, "Can you do another one and make it more fun?" I think the second one you saw, was it Where No Man Has Gone Before, or the one with the salt vampire?
It was one with the three bald aliens that were. I can't remember. It's been a year now.
No, that's The Cage. That's the one with the original.
Okay, so that was the one I saw. Then I saw that one, and then the one with the other guy.
With Kirk?
Yeah, Kirk, and then the other guy before that. I think those are the two that I saw. Whatever's
on.
Well,
no,
whatever's on.
Well, then you actually saw one episode because that's a two-parter.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
See, that's why that was new back then. Roddenberry, what he did is he took that pilot that was never. It was just sitting there because NBC said no, we can't air it. So he brought it back in the middle of the first season and chopped it in two. It was the first two-parter. So they brought back the Captain Pike, but he was all burnt up and he couldn't talk, only with the beep on his wheelchair. And then they went back in time and they showed the scenes from the original pilot, which is how they reused the footage from that. So I think that's what you saw. It's called the Menagerie. What you saw?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. At the very least, I'll do the reaction to Shanclen's reaction video. I know that's a popular thing. So
yeah. So I mean, I was kind of stretching it again to see if Mark would join us, but I guess he took a shot to the bridge and his computer's not working, inoperable.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing: it is for the first time ever. Only when Mark is in here. I wonder why that is. We didn't go for over an hour for once. However, so we have a little bit, like I said, and Mark isn't here. Wonder if that means something. But one final thing: if any of you have any other issue, it could be anything, as long as it's relevant to Geek Speak audience that you guys want to throw out, that we can do one final thing. If not, we'll just wrap it up and call it a show. Actually, there is one more thing. I don't know if you guys saw this. I actually was gonna make this a topic, but then I changed it to the Iron Lung thing. But let me bring this up because most of us, well, you two especially, Shanclen and Trent, you guys really do a lot of stuff on YouTube. So a week or 2 weeks ago, I think YouTube revealed that after their final year 2025 annual report came out, all that stuff that they do, while they're getting their taxes ready, really is what it is. They realized, wait a minute, Netflix for 2025 made, I think it was 45 billion. YouTube for 2025 made, I think it was 168 billion, which officially makes it way bigger than Netflix. There is a new player in Hollywood, and it's not Netflix anymore. So,
and my CPM is still $13. Come on, man.
That's why I wanted to bring that up, because I've always, you guys can look at me like I had 20 heads, but I really don't understand that model. I think you guys talked about it in one of your episodes on Geek Off The Street. You don't understand the model, how the Netflix model, how the same thing, kind of like YouTube. With Netflix is how can you just have movies for free, basically, and not get anything out of it? With YouTube, I've always wondered how do content creators make all this money that they claim that they make? YouTube would be broke by now. So they have to be making more than the people that put videos on there. Obviously, this tells you that they are. So business doesn't change anymore. So, but besides the business side, what does that tell you guys? That YouTube is now the biggest platform in entertainment?
Honestly, I'm kind of curious of does that mean that people who post on YouTube or share things on YouTube, is there a bigger platform for them to share it? Because I've thought about it recently. I haven't told really much anybody, but I've thought about kicking up my old YouTube channel.
Breaking news.
Because that's actually what I have been talking about it for a bit, just kind of in passing conversations, how back maybe early 2010s, it seemed like anybody could just be a YouTuber. Anybody could just put up content and become this viral sensation. But I look at it now, and it's is that necessarily the same now? Can anybody just become like an internet icon on off YouTube? Or are they just kind of like micro influencers? I've heard that term before, but is it just kind of like you have just a small following? You can never break outside of certain numbers.
That was a 2010s term also, micro influencer. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember, Trent, actually you told the story once when it was, again, I think it was around that time, 2010, 2011, when you and RJ, your old co-host, when you guys started doing movie reviews. And at the time, it wasn't really a thing. And you guys said, this is dumb. Who's watching? And now everybody's watching.
Yeah.
So,
Real kicking myself for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's an interesting question because YouTube it's a lot more than it was, back then. I know that I struggle with YouTube on like every channel that I've ever had or still have now. It's hard. It's hard. I think I struggle a lot with trying to gain followers, grow the show, grow my personal channel, and it's I don't know. I think it's different than it was 10 years ago. Definitely 10 years ago.
Because we need some teachings, because there's somebody here who, I guess, micro-influencer, we could call you that, does have numbers, does make good numbers, and has just made a big change in life, has decided to be a professional YouTuber. Shanclen, how you do it?
Yeah.
Get by through every single video that I put out, barely make enough to pay the bills. Now I got an office, and my bills are higher now, so barely scraping through. So if you guys can like and subscribe, that would help me out a lot, because I don't have a steady paycheck every 2 weeks nowadays.
Wait, let me ask you guys something else. I forget who I was talking to, but it's somebody that does YouTube stuff, and they told me this, and they're right. Why do people still say like and subscribe? I think at this point, everybody knows how YouTube works, right? Is there still a need to tell them like and subscribe?
Well, it's like a psychology thing too, because when you look at your analytics and stuff, there's people that watch your videos, but they don't like and subscribe. And it's just like, there's sometimes that like, I know I've noticed that a couple times too, to where like I'd be watching somebody that I'm not subscribed to, or I'd just click on a random video, and then they'd be like and subscribe, and you would watch multiple videos, and they say like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe, and it does something with your mind to where you just do it. And whether you continue watching that YouTuber or not, you could still be subscribed to them, and then like months down later, it's like, why did I subscribe to this guy, and just unsubscribe or something like that. But yeah, it's something to do with psychology.
No, I think it has something to do with age, because I see that all the time. I don't subscribe to any of them. I was going to say, in real life, that's called not subscribing. They didn't like it. They didn't enjoy it that much. Maybe the first 2 seconds, but then as you went on, I was like, okay, why am I here? And they go click onto something else. So the way entertainment has always been. So just telling them, yeah, it could be a psychology thing, but it could also be, like I said, an age thing, because social media has made sheep out of younger generations, because, yeah, that's what they call the followers. You tell them to like and subscribe, hashtag this or do that, and they will do it. I'm supposed to like this thing. Oh, I'm supposed to hate oh, you're canceled. I'm supposed to do like, can you think for yourself anymore? Can you?
I don't want to attack your age, Henry, but I think it's a target audience thing. Because Mark has the same opinion.
That's what I said. You're not attacking. You're agreeing.
He has the same opinion as you. Mark doesn't like to say like or subscribe. He doesn't like to ask people to do that, because he thinks we shouldn't need to, because our show speaks for itself. Obviously, if you look at our numbers, it doesn't. But so it's one of those things where
no. It does. You just don't like what it's saying. Is what it is.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, I think it is. There's so much like science to the metrics and the analysis of how to grow a show, and every single thing like contributes 1% or 0.5% to your visibility or to your growth. And,
because just know this, Henry. There's gonna be somebody that subscribes because you said that one thing, and that one person makes a difference. And then there's going to be 2 people. And then, because like some people will be like, I like, share, and subscribed in the comments to show that they did. And then that helps boost the algorithm when they do like, share, and comment on your video. Because if people comment on your videos, they like it and they share it, that shows YouTube's algorithms that, this is an interesting video.
Where is Mark? I need him now. because he would understand this, because this is how entertainment has always been. Why what you said, Shanclen, why that is recalculus, that's a new word, because when something is so ridiculous that ridiculous doesn't cover, you got to make up a word. Recalculus. Why it's so recalculus is that you can share and subscribe because you like one video, but then they're going to do another one where you absolutely hate them, but now you're unsubscribing. But then they do something else that you really like and you subscribe. It's like, really? Again, same thing. When you like something, you like it no matter what. You may call them a shill, you may call it blindly, but there's a reason why I love Marvel and not DC. I don't hate DC. It just doesn't do it for me. I like Star Wars and Star Trek, but I don't like, Starship Troopers. I mean, I enjoy it, but I like the book more than what they've done with the movies and the cartoons and all the stuff that came afterwards. Lord of the Rings, same thing. I like some of the movies. I didn't like the show at all. Love the books and like that. And when I watch things, movies, especially we're talking about YouTube here. When I watch YouTube videos, what makes me subscribe to them is, for example, I've told you guys in your anniversary show, what made me subscribe to you guys is that you were unapologetically authentic, not new, not different, authentic, where you're not pretending that you like something, or like most people do today, that you hate something because everybody else hates it. I mean, Trent pretty much hates everything.
I genuinely hate it though. At least I'm being genuine though. I genuinely hate it.
Exactly. But you're authentic. Other people aren't like that. And that me who can, I have a bullshit meter built in. I can smell bullshit a mile away, 5 miles away. Sometimes that happens when you get older. I know when somebody's being fake. I know when somebody actually likes you, actually listens. I meet people since I was in radio. I always met people. I listen to you all the time. I've always asked them, what's the best thing? What's the latest thing that you like that I said? Well, I don't know. That means you don't listen. It's somebody famous. I want to be in their presence. Like, I'm not famous. I mean, just because I do something doesn't make me special. Honestly, I eat, go to the bathroom, have to pay bills, everything. Just like you guys, I get cold, I get hot, I have anxiety, I have all that stuff. I just don't share it because that's not fun. When you turn to this is to forget your anxiety. So like, okay, who has a better life than me? Yeah, that's fun, that's cool, and you forget about it at least for an hour, whatever it is. That's why I would subscribe to someone. But if somebody is just sitting there and I can tell, well, you guys, let me tell you why the Acolyte sucks. I think because 90 other people say it sucks. Is that why? They don't have a real reason why. If they have a legit, like Trent has an authentic reason why he loved Andor. Also why he didn't really enjoy the second season, but it has a legit reason why he didn't like Stranger Things. I'm always, like I tell you guys, I'm always answering you guys. As the moment Trent said, now, I didn't watch season 2 and 3. So, man, shut up. Then you can't say nothing about it. You got to watch all of it, or of course it's not going to make sense. But, that's why I subscribe to different things. So, but the fact that YouTube has now become the biggest platform, I really do think, like I kept saying, Netflix isn't going to change Hollywood, not the way people are thinking. It's going to change the way you go to movie theaters or experience it, but that was changing already. Netflix has nothing to do with it. It's just more obvious because it's a big thing. This will. It has been for a while. I mean, I did it myself. I don't know if Shanclen did. I think you did. I know a lot of people that have we all cut the cable a long time ago. I used to have satellite because they had football. Now football is on YouTube. It's been there the last 2 weeks. I have YouTube TV to go with it. It's a lot cheaper than cable and satellite, everything else, and it's got everything and more. You just need the way you watch YouTube. Same thing. It's just TV. Will movies? That's the big thing that I started wondering. Will movies, real movies, will they start going to YouTube?
Aren't they? Oh, like premiering?
Yeah.
Oh. Probably not. Not for a while.
It could happen with Netflix. That'll be the beginning. And the way Hollywood works, when you get older, you don't know things. You just notice different patterns repeating over and over. One thing that all these Hollywood people are, they think they're original. They're not. They love copying whatever is working at the moment. So when they start seeing that nobody, like for example, 2020, nobody was going to movie theaters because everybody was terrified. So what did? They They started moving everything online. Premiering day and date. Man, 2 people in the movie theater, 9 yards apart from each other. But everybody was watching. Remember the Godzilla movie that came out during COVID? Everybody was on HBO Max watching the premiere. It's going to get to that pretty soon. Maybe people will go, but even for event films like Barbie, like Oppenheimer, like Doomsday, it's going to come to a point where you don't really need that experience. You can experience it just the same with your family, with friends, have a watch party, whatever it is. And Hollywood will adapt to that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's scary. That's a little scary just hearing about it because, I don't know, as a historian, knowing kind of like where the sort of premise of going to theater comes in, this social activity or this moment of walking to a theater, and like it's what would you say?
The experience.
The ritual of going, I would say. It's like you would get your favorite snacks, or there would be the sneaking in of snacks, and you'd sneak in McDonald's, or you'd sneak in this almost sort of like, or coming out of the movie theater and having almost like a whole paradigm shift because you for a moment weren't anywhere else but in this almost third space, and you came out somebody new. And so it's like, can you experience all of that when you're just at home and you're in your laptop or your living room? Like, does the location of it really change the experience of what happens to you when you do watch a movie?
Does it? Writers? Well, Trent, the writer. Because really, that's your job, the writer. You had to give him a reason to want to go out to that movie because you write something so great that, like Emily said, it's not this. You can't just experience it on your TV at home. It's got to be, or I'll use your word, a ritualistic experience with this big crowd. Everybody's cheering, crying, whatever it is, booing, whatever's going on.
For me, it's got to look good and sound good. Those 2 reasons are the only reasons why I go to the theater now. If I know it's a movie that's it's gonna look basic as hell, or the soundtrack and the music is just not warranted for a big old theater experience, I'm waiting for it to stream.
See, I can forgive those 2 things. I gotta have a good story and characters you care about. Those are the 2 things that are the most important to me. And I'll take sound over visuals. Sound more important than visuals to me personally. But I still love you, man.
Yeah, it was like for me, like there was a movie that came out recently with Leonardo DiCaprio and Fabricio del Toro, I think it was. I forget what it was, but like it's movies that are kind of just casual and like not like cinema masterpieces, but they're just kind of movies to share a statement of current economic world situations and just a fun story, or like a Adam Sandler movie or something like that. Like I really wouldn't go to a theater for that, you know. But if it's like Dune or The Odyssey coming up, or you know, something like that, that's
Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, I'll go to a theater for that because I know it's just gonna be pretty interesting how that turns out in theaters.
Or did the bombs need to drop already? Because it's been around too long and we're just bored at this point. So having said that, that's it for this month on that happy note. But before we go, though, we waited, so I guess Trent's going to be up to you. Let everybody know where and when they can listen to everything that you both got. It is the 2 of you, right? It's not just you?
Yes. No, yeah, there's 2 of us still in the show.
Yeah, but where and when can they listen to you guys?
We're at the Gots Pod. Geek Off The Street is the name of our show. Our episodes on the audio side come out every Wednesday, and we do our best to get our YouTube videos up on Friday, the day following the audio episode. But yeah, we're on Instagram, we're on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all those places. Come say hi, and please like and subscribe.
Emily, how about you? Where's everything that you do?
Everything I do, you can also, by the same username, EnderLady_04 on TikTok or on Instagram, or even so Facebook.
And I left Shanclen for last because he's got like 20,000 things now. So where can we watch them all?
Just go to the link tree. It's the best advice I can give you. I got so much stuff going on. Go to the link tree. Got
Wait.
something on there for everyone.
I was gonna tell you, don't forget this one, and you did. Tell them about the live, because those are getting. I mean, just last week you had a live, literally a live concert during the live. They're getting a lot more fun. So those of you that love hearing the Nerdy Navajo news, you got to watch him when he's live on Monday. So tell them where and when they can watch all that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because our last live stream that we did with Clay and Fire, a live musical band, is currently our most watched video that we have on the Shanclen Shadow Lodge YouTube channel. You guys can go there and watch it every Monday at either 5 or 6 p.m. Pacific time. Either go follow me on all my social medias, because that's when I'll be posting it, but 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is normally when we go live every Monday. So, yeah. You probably, by the time this episode releases, you already missed an episode, so you got to catch us next week.
Yeah, and I have everybody linked up on the show description. And for us, for the Geek Speak Show, if you're not already there, come and visit our home, thegeekspeakshow.com. Everything is there. Everybody is always welcome. We'll all be back. Well, not all of us. Maybe the boys won't, but we three will be back next week to speak more geek. Bye, everybody.